All right, welcome back to Lumify. In this one, we're going to talk about automations and how you can use automations to supercharge your marketing. The idea behind automations is to conduct some sort of action or perform an activity that happens automatically and doesn't require human intervention. And there's several ways that you can do that within Lumify. To get started, we should create an automation. And on the new automation page, you'll have the option to import automations. You can check our support website for some example automations that could quickly get you started. You can treat those as templates. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to go in and just build out our own automation. So let's imagine a scenario where you want to automatically send emails to new leads before they confirm their event with you. Let's say you get a lead using the contact form widget, and you want to send out a series of maybe 3 to 5 emails to them, just reminding them, nudging them, saying, "Hey, are you still interested in our services? Do you want to book us?" Things like that. So in order to do that, we should first look at the trigger section. And the triggers are how automations get kicked off. And there's different ways that you can do this. The first way, and probably the most easiest way, is using the time-based triggers, which, depending on which trigger you select, will get triggered based on the time. So you can select a automation to run every hour. You can select an automation to run on a daily basis. You can select an automation to run weekly, monthly, etc. Now you'll notice that when you select a daily, weekly, or monthly automation, it'll run at 7 p.m. your local time. If you want to configure the automation to run at a different time, you can use the hourly automation and set conditions on the day of the week. Let's say you want to run it on a Thursday. You would put 4 in there to represent Thursday. Let's say that you want to run it at a specific time of the day. You can say where the hour is equal to 13, which would be 1 o'clock. It's on 24-hour time. So you can fully customize that. Okay. But for our case, we're actually going to do a different trigger. And these other triggers that you see here are for model-based events, when something happens to something within Lumify. So for example, here, when a user is created, or when an event is created, or an appointment is updated. And there's a whole bunch of different options that can allow you to hook into different parts of Lumify. And this last one here is for webhooks. It's an advanced topic. We're not going to talk about that in this video. There'll be a future video on webhooks. In our case, we're going to look at the event created trigger. Because when a contact form is submitted, an event is usually created. An event and a contact are usually created, and those two things are linked. In this case, we're going to use the event created trigger, which would capture all of the event details so that we can use that in our automation. All right, so now what we want to do is actually go in and limit this automation. We don't want to run this automation every time an event is created, because if we do that, what will happen is, even if you go into your events and you create a new event here, the automation will run, which is not necessarily what you want. What we really want is any time that someone submits a contact form request. So let's do that. Let's add a condition, and it's going to be a where value condition. And the value that we're looking at is event, meta, and it's going to be source. And this is a sort of special field that gets used when contact forms, availability checkers, and quote generators are submitted. It automatically adds an event meta source field. So we're going to use that event meta source field, and we're going to use contact form. So this will only be triggered. This automation that we're creating right now will only be triggered when the event meta source is equal to contact form. All right, let's save that. And while we're at it, let's actually put a name to this as well. Let's call it simple email drip campaign. Awesome. So once we've set up our trigger and we're happy with that, we can next move to our actions. And there's a whole bunch of different actions that you can run using automations within Lumify. And they're sort of organized based on the type of action that they represent. You can, for example, grab a list of different events within Lumify. And if you wanted to do that, you could use the get list of models. If you wanted to run an action on each of those items in that list, you can use the do action on each model in list. For events, there's all kinds of actions you can run. You can assign a contact to an event. You can assign a planning form to an event. You can assign a playlist. You can send an email to contacts on an event. You can even add custom meta fields to an event. For contacts, you can add tags. You can send client portal invites. If you have the MailChimp integration set up, you can automatically sync contacts with MailChimp. You can email custom reports under the custom report actions. And then there's also these general actions where you can create an entity, you can create a brand new event, you can create a brand new invoice, brand new contract using the create model. You can update any entity, you can update a invoice, you can update a appointment, anything like that. You can also add notes to contacts, events, and locations. You can grab a single model. So similar to the get list of all models, you can do get a single model. So you can work with one user or one event. And then you can also send a generic email to recipients. So you can type in an email address, a specific email address, or you can make API calls for more advanced users. So there's a ton of different actions that you can use here. And so the action that we're going to use is the send an email to event contacts, because those contacts are going to be related to this event that was just created. Let's click that. All right. And so the first thing we want to do is add some conditions. And what these conditions do, similar to the trigger conditions, these query conditions or action conditions allow you to narrow the contacts that will receive this email. So we can put it's going to be a where condition. In fact, actually, it's going to be a where relation condition. And the relationship that we're going to look at for contacts is going to be contact type. And what we're going to look at is where the contact type label is equal to client. And so in that way, only clients on this event will get this email. All right, so up next, let's just put in some basic, thank you for contacting us type language. I'm going to drop that in there. And let's grab some email content and drop that in there as well. Cool. So, you can pretty much use any merge fields that are available anywhere else in documents. The syntax is the same as the merge fields that are available in documents for different methods that you want to use, or formatting of dates or currency, things like that. In this case, we're going to use the contact's name, and we're going to use the sort of the helper here for grabbing the first name of that contact. And then we're just going to say, thanks for reaching out to us. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. But in the meantime, you can use our Calendly link to schedule a meeting. And you can add links in here as well. I'm just going to put a placeholder in there. And then you'll see that the merge field for company name is being used here for the signature line. This use global email layout option is for you to use that layout that you've set up in your notification templates. You can use that layout so you can have consistent emails being sent out. So your client sees the same style of email every time that they get an email from you. You can enable that, and that'll use that global layout. But you can also disable that, which will make the email look a little bit more personalized, like it's not being sent from a robot. I personally tend to turn that option off so that the client sees an email that looks sort of like it was written by a human. And before we get too far, I do want to do a quick test using a contact form to make sure that everything is working the way that we expect. So let's go into our widgets and our contact form. And let's go ahead and just do a quick test. Say test user, test at lumifylabs.com, test event. None of these fields are required. I'm going to go ahead and leave them blank, and I'm going to hit submit. And sure enough, here's that email right here. The client received an email saying, thanks for contacting us. It says, hi there, test. We got your inquiry and we're working to respond as soon as possible. That link is there, and everything looks the way that it should be looking. So we can proceed with our automation. Let's hop back into the automations, open up our simple email drip campaign, and continue working on this. The next action that we want to add here is a delay. And we can do that by going down here to logical actions, and we can select delay for specified time. And what we can do here is say we want to delay the next email that gets sent to the client by 5 days. We'll send that first thank you email, we'll wait 5 days, and then we'll send another email after 5 days. So we'll do that. And then what we'll also do here is under the delay, we're going to add an action. It's going to be a logical action that we want to add called the if-then, sort of conditional branching. And what that allows us to do is in 5 days' time, it'll check to see whether the event is confirmed or not. And what we're really looking for is to make sure that the event is still within the status of lead, that is still a lead and not a pending or confirmed event. So what we can do here is add a condition, and we're going to add a condition where the value of event status ID is equal to 1. And for most people, the first event status is going to be ID of 1. Usually that's lead or prospect, something like that. And that's usually safe to use. What you want to do just to be completely sure, though, is you can go into your event options, event statuses, and check your event statuses. In our case, the first on this list is prospect, and that's the event status that we want to see. Okay, let's go back into automations and continue working on this conditional branching. So if the event status is still equal to 1 in 5 days, what we're going to do is we're going to send under the then action. You'll see here it's if, then, and else. So if event status ID is equal to 1, then we're going to perform a certain action. And that action is going to be to send an email to the contacts on that event. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select send an email to event contacts. We're going to add a similar filter here. We're going to add where relationship, contact type, where the label is equal to client. So it's only going to the clients or client. And then we can add our email content here. So let's just go ahead and grab some email content. We can say something like, are you still interested? And then we can add something along the lines of, hey, we haven't heard back from you. It's been 5 days. Wanted to check in and see if you're still interested. All right. Hit save. We'll save the conditional branching. What you'll notice is we didn't actually put an else action, and that's okay. The reason being is we can leave that blank and it won't perform any action. If you wanted to, you can have a different email that gets sent out and says, hey, we got your event. You're not in pending status anymore. You're not a prospect anymore. You're a confirmed event. But in this case, it's a marketing email. We're just going to leave it this way. We're just going to send an email if they're still in pending status. You can hit save. And there you go. Let's make sure to save this whole automation. So what if the client is still a prospect in 10 days or in 15 days? What do you do then? Well, you can do the exact same thing. We can go ahead and create another delay for a specified period of time. Do that. Let's say it's going to be 15 days. And in 15 days, there's still a prospect. We're going to send them another email. And it's important to note that this 15 days is 15 days from when this trigger happened. It's not 15 days from when this last action happened. So we're going to go in here. We're going to add some actions. We're going to do another if then, because we want to make sure that the client is still a prospect, right? We don't want to send emails saying, hey, are you interested when they're a confirmed event? So we're going to go in here and we're going to say where value of the event status is equal to 1. Cool. And then we're going to send another email. Event action, and we're going to send an email to event contacts. We're going to add another condition where the relationship, contact type, label is equal to client. Cool. And this will be the last email that we send in this series of emails. You can add an unlimited number of delayed actions to send an unlimited number of emails. If you really wanted to continue pestering your clients, you can do that. So drop that in there. And our subject line is going to sound a little bit desperate, but this is just an example. You're still looking for a DJ. Cool. Looks good to me. I'm going to hit save here. Hit save again, and let's just save the whole thing while we're here. So let's review really quickly what we've done. When an event is created from a contact form, we're going to send an email saying, thanks for contacting us. That's this email here. And then we're going to also wait 5 days. On the 5th day after the contact form was submitted, we're going to check whether the event is still in the pending stage. If the event is still in the pending stage, then we're going to send an email to all the clients on that event saying, we haven't heard back from you, checking in to see if you're still interested. Then, in 15 days after the event was created in a pending stage, we're going to confirm that the event is still in a pending stage. Then we're going to send another email saying, hey, still interested? This is the last time we're going to email you, but we wanted to check, make sure that you're either interested or not. So after this, what would be really nice is maybe on the 20th day or on the 25th day, we're going to give up, essentially. We're going to consider this a lost event. And the way that we can do that, and when it's considered a lost event, we should update the status. And so the way that we're going to do that is we can add an action. This is also going to be a delayed action. And let's say that we're going to wait 25 days. All right. And so the action that we're going to do here is going to be similar. We're going to do another conditional branch, and we're going to check again where the event status is still in pending. Then we're going to go ahead and update the event. So we can go into the event actions. We're going to go into the update a model action, and we're going to update the event here. And the value that we're going to update is going to be the event status. So we're going to put event status ID, and we're going to make that equal to 5. Again, you should confirm that 5 corresponds to the lost event status or the didn't book event status, something along those lines. But 5 in my case represents the lost event status. So we can hit save, save that again, and hit save. So now what we've got is a pretty robust way that we can automatically message our contacts. It'll send emails to those contacts and check if they're still interested on a periodic basis. And if it turns out that they're really just not interested, it'll automatically update your event to be a lost event. And that way it won't show up in any sort of reporting, anything like that. And I just wanted to give one last plug to the support website for Lumify, support.lumifylabs.com. On there, you'll find some example templates for automations. And the community members are constantly submitting new templates, new suggestions, new ideas for how automations could work. Automations are extremely powerful. They do require some configuration, but once you get them configured, really powerful. So check out that support website and share any automations that you come up with. I'm sure the community would love it. I'll see you in the next one.